The Eastern Cape Provincial Council of Churches has invited church leaders to join a national prayer service for Fort Hare University. This comes in the wake of the assassination attempts on some senior managers at the university, including the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Sakhela Buhlungu. Professor Buhlungu's bodyguard, Mboneli Vesele, was killed last month during an attempt on the Vice-Chancellor's life. Our reporter, Siphosethu Booi, joins us now. Siphosethu, great to catch up with you this afternoon. One would imagine that issues around corruption would possibly be part of the conversations going on today.
Most definitely, Hugo, and maybe that's also one of the many reasons why the Council of Churches came and also organized the prayer service that will be held today, this afternoon, here at the University of Fort Hare. But Hugo, we can't really speak about the prayer service that will be held today, this afternoon, here in Fort Hare, without speaking about the fact that, of course, the Vice-Chancellor has been quite vocal about the issues of corruption in this university. I mean, in the many interviews that he has had, he mentioned one case that stood up for him that was mainly the one case that introduced him to the many illegal connections and deals and contracts that were signed in this particular university, when he spoke about the refurbishment and maintenance contract that was supposed to be a contract that was supposed to last for 9 years and 11 months, but it resulted to the contract being signed for 15 years, and he was alerted by the Higher Education Training Department that this contract is illegal. He speaks about the fact that he knew from day one, and the contract actually, Hugo, was running since 2012, and he took up office in 2017, and he says that he has not known peace ever since. And when asked if whether or not he believes that the motive behind his assassins are also due to the fact that he has been quite vocal about the issue of corruption in the university, he answers and he says that, well, that could be the case because he's now closing the gaps as far as corruption is concerned. So the reason why the Council of Churches is holding this prayer service for the University of Fort Hare is mainly for the protection of the VC, his staff members, including the students who have plus minus a week and two to actually start learning and teaching here at the University of Fort Hare. So that service will be starting this afternoon at 2 p.m. Hugo.
Let's talk about participation of the churches themselves. You know, how many churches are going to be a part of this church service? And we also expect the students from the University of Fort Hare, as well as administrators, to be part of it.
Yeah. Yes, definitely, Hugo, and we just saw some vehicles also making their way inside, and we've seen the members of the Methodist Church also making their way inside this particular venue, which is the Fort Hare University campus here in Alice, which is the main campus. We are expecting, of course, the students as well as community members, because in the statement that was released by the Council of Churches, or rather the statement that they sent out, it was an issue of a call for the community as a whole, because this doesn't only affect the students and the staff management of this particular university, but also surrounding areas, the members of the residential area of Fort Hare. You will recall that, Hugo, many of the students that attend classes here at this university come from small villages in and around the Eastern Cape province. So I'm pretty sure that there'll be community members, including parents of some of those students, who will be making their way to this university to also be a part of this prayer service that will be held this afternoon. Also because, Hugo, this university has really just promoted and also just sent out to the world many leaders, including former presidents of big countries like Zimbabwe, including our own President Nelson Mandela. And so now, if the dignity of the university is now being flagged, or rather the university is now going to be popular for bad things like corruption, then this raises an issue of the university and its credibility as far as academics are concerned. Now the issue of danger to that fraternity of education is at risk. So the importance of the community members and leaders, religious leaders, and also political leaders to come together in support of the safety of the Vice-Chancellor, Sakhela Buhlungu, including the staff as well as the university students, is quite one of great importance this afternoon, Hugh.
Siphosethu, you've talked about Professor Buhlungu and how vocal he's been. And at the funeral service of Mboneli Vesele, one of the things that he did is he challenged the police minister who was present at that funeral service to find the perpetrators who did this, and obviously those that attempted to take his own life. Do we know if there's been any progress? And obviously, is this likely to be one of the things that will be discussed in the corridors, if you will, around this church service this afternoon?
Definitely, it's one of the questions that many, even including residents and community members that live in and around the area of Alice, Fort Beaufort, Adelaide, so forth and so on, King, that they're also discussing, will we eventually see that the Police Minister, Bekele, actually arresting or putting many measures in place to make sure that the perpetrators are brought to book. I mean, now, Hugo, we're sitting with the Vice-Chancellor who walks around in and around with a space of securities that are up to 6 from one that he lost, of course, Mr. Mboneli Vesele, who lost his life during the failed assassin to the Vice-Chancellor of this particular university. And now the Vice-Chancellor needs to move around with 6 bodyguards, which is something that we've never seen or heard of. So the issue of this topic and the issue of the Police Minister also making sure that these perpetrators are brought to book is one of great question, Hugo, as the rest of the country as well is also waiting to see if the issue of corruption really will be taken as seriously as far as also learning institutions are concerned. Because in many years, Hugo, you would never find or whether hear cases of a Vice-Chancellor moving around with securities only because of the issue of corruption and other issues that result to those illegal connections and reports that the Vice-Chancellor is flagging as far as something that is unusual, considering the fact that he is himself an academic. So those are some of the issues that I'm sure that all the members of the different churches will also be talking about, because this is an issue of concern, of great concern, because not only are these church leaders that want what is good, but they also are parents, and some of them, chances are, also have students that go to this particular university. So if you're as a parent sending a child to a university level or to school, you expect them to be safe. So if the question of safety for the students is also in question when you see your Vice-Chancellor moving in and around inside and outside of the university campuses with security, you yourself would also be in a situation where as a parent you'd be concerned of your own child's safety. So those are some of the issues of safety and protection. Also, most importantly, making sure that the staff as well as the Vice-Chancellor and these students are protected here at the University of Fort Hare, Hugo.
Siphosethu, you talk about security, which obviously brings to the fore Mboneli Vesele, who lost his life in that attempt on the Vice-Chancellor's life.
Yeah.
Do we know if he is going to be remembered in this service? Is his family a part of it? And have they received any reparations? Do you know?
Not at this point, Hugo, but I can make mention of the fact